Everyone, welcome Facebook, welcome YouTube. So we're coming live from the A Course in Miracles and David Hoffmeister page for the first time, so welcome. Ah dear, wow, what a week it's been. So much been happening. Feels like a very, very deep time. Very important time. It's always very important to stay in that connection, which is really what the theme in my mind has been this last week. It's been very, very deep. Yeah, and as always, I don't really particularly know where this is all going to go today. And that's the expansion, that's just the not knowing, letting it unfold, because I don't want to have a plan. I don't want to stage something. There's no need to be anything. So it's good just to feel a bit vulnerable, but allow the strength in, not my own strength, is definitely what I call forth on all of these. And it's kind of interesting actually, because it's probable that I'll be talking tomorrow night on the online retreat, open-mindedness online retreat. And so my thoughts were, oh no, I better not share too much on the episode today, because I won't have anything to share tomorrow. And my friend said to me, she said, but the Spirit's always got something to say. And I said, well, yeah, that's true, but it just depends if I'm too frightened or not as to what's going to come through. And so it's interesting how you want to put limits on yourself. So if I hold back today, then I'll have more to give tomorrow. And it's like, I saw that in my mind. I thought, God, that's really interesting, that I'm going to hold myself back today, but I'm going to hopefully have something for tomorrow which don't even know exists. And so I'm not going to give everything to this moment. Is that what I'm saying? So it's coming from some sort of lack, that there's nothing, there's not enough to go around. And it's like, well, no. So I came to the decision once I saw that, I thought, no, today I'm giving everything. This is the only moment that I have to truly align up with the truth and to give all to all. So how can I want to hold anything back? You know, oneness doesn't hold anything back. There's nothing being held back there. And so by me limiting myself, I'm actually limiting you. You limit your brothers. And I don't want to do that. So yeah, it's about really taking those limits off. It's seeing the limits. It's seeing wherever I'm wanting to be limited. And it's the same again. It's like I come up with these titles and I think, I have no clue what this is all about. I don't even know how to talk about these things. And then yet all of a sudden it seems to come clear. Like the message is far deeper than I know. And that's what I'm actually really enjoying, that I don't know, and that I can just stay completely and utterly open to whatever wants to unfold, because that's much more exciting than me trying to control something. And by controlling, I'm actually believing in the limit. And it's like, no, I don't want to believe in that limit. I don't want to be limited in what this is, in what this very instant that we have together. I don't want it to be any limitations on it at all. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And it's this deeper trust that everything is going to be completely and utterly given and completely and utterly provided for. And that this is for everyone and everything. And that is what the law of truth wants. Always. It wants to provide everything for everyone, always and forever. And it's just whether we want to accept that or not. And it's interesting. It's like everything's been coming at me to help me with this, with these lessons, and been reading this book. I'll show you it. Here it is. It's a really good book. Mutant Message Down Under. I think it was written in like 1994. Really good book about a lady who ends up going off in the outback in Australia, and she ends up with a tribe of Aborigines, because she did a lot of beautiful work with Aborigines, and they basically couldn't get the Aborigines to work, and so she set up this little company, and they all started working there, and it was really all for them, and they really enjoyed it. They were making like mosquito nets for windows and things, and they really, really enjoyed it, and they couldn't believe that they'd got these Aborigines to come together. And so this tribe invited her, I think they're in the north of Australia, they invited her over, and then not knowing, their gift to her was that they were going to take her on a 3-month walkabout in the middle of the desert, or whatever they call it. And so now she's in a really interesting situation whereby she's learning to survive in very, very harsh conditions that she knows nothing about. And what the Aborigines do is they pray to oneness every morning. They pray to the universe, and they live in complete abundance. They wake up in the morning and they say, whatever needs to be given will be given. We live in abundance. Whatever wants to come to us will be shown to us. If we're to eat today, it will be shown. If there be shelter, and so forth. And whatever we need will come our way. And that's how they live their life, very, very simply, with carrying very little supplies, including water. Everything's extremely minimal. And so they've learnt to really tune in to everything. And so they don't see themselves as being separate from anything. They don't see themselves as being separate from the plants, from the animals, from the water, from anything. It's all completely and utterly one whole mind. And that's how they live their life. They live their life in that way. They don't take more than they need. They give back, they replenish, they look after everything. That's their way, really. It's actually kindness and gratitude. I think now, when I'm thinking about the book, it's just deep, deep gratitude for everything. And, you know, the same with the Course in Miracles. They say, seemingly, when something seems to go wrong, in actual fact, it's perfect and everything's going right. There's a little story in the book whereby one of the boys was going ahead, and he was looking for things. I think he was looking for stones at the time, and he fell like about 20 feet down, and he actually broke his leg. He broke between his ankle and his knee. He broke his leg. And they said, oh, this is interesting. And because she was part of the medical profession, they said, oh, he did this for you, because we wanted to show you our methods of how we heal these things. So this is actually a blessing. This is everybody believes that it's a blessing in the tribe. There's like 20 of them all walking along. So, oh yeah, this is a blessing. This is actually for you to watch how we heal. And they actually heal purely through hands. It's absolutely amazing what they do. And he says that everything has its own pathway, and same as the bone in the body. And so they say that all I have to do is I have to think about the bone going back into its rightful position, and it actually will, without any manipulation. There's no manipulation done whatsoever. That everything wants to be in its rightful place. And so that's how they heal. She just can't believe it. And all they do is they have this special mud, and they wrap this mud over it at the end. and that's basically the end of it. And in the morning he wakes up and he's walking perfectly normal like you and I, and she just can't believe it. And he's smiling and he's happy, no fever, no nothing. She's like, wow, this is amazing. And so it's like they believe, oh no, great, he broke his leg, because now we can get to show you this. This doesn't happen very often. And what may seem to be a tragedy is actually a blessing in disguise. Not even in disguise, it is a complete blessing. and he was happy to show this healing process for her, which she was very, very interested in, to show the true ways of how they live. And their life is a song. Their life is filled with joy, because one of the things I really liked about what that book shared, he said she was sort of like asking about what he felt was the differences between sort of like our seeming civilization and them. And one of the things that he said, well, with us, we don't hold anything, we don't have any secrets. We are completely and utterly transparent with each other, because if we're not, we can't be telepathic with one another, and we can't tune into the source, the oneness. So we need to be completely and utterly transparent, so we have no ill feelings towards each other, because if we do, we'll actually feel it, and we actually know it before it's happening. And that's how we can actually talk without talking. So when they're on their walkabout, they don't actually talk to each other in voice. They talk telepathically, because they all are completely and utterly aligned. And so the first time she sees this is they're all walking along in a complete straight line. No one said everything. And then automatically, all at once, the whole tribe turned right. And they're all walking in that distance other than her, because she's not tuned in. And she's like, what are we doing? So that's how she starts finding out, how did you know to turn? She said, oh, we're all telepathic. We can speak from miles and miles away. It's like, wow. And so there's another a sharing of this, where one of the boys wakes up in the morning and he says, I want to go and hunt for food today for the whole tribe. Is this given by oneness? And the leader of the tribe, yes, this is given. And they all sing and they all dance around him and they all praise him. And if this is for the gift for the day, then it will come back to us. And off he goes. He's 20 miles away from them, and they're all walking along, and all of a sudden the tribe stop. Hold on a minute, there's a message coming through. It's from our friend who's 20 miles away. And he's saying to them, so the message was, he says, I've managed to kill a kangaroo. He said, but I need to cut off the tail because it's too heavy for me to carry. Because the thing is he said, I drank some water on the way, and the water was actually poisonous. And now I'm really not feeling very well. My stomach's not very good, and I don't feel as strong as I am. And I'm asking the elders if they agree that I can cut the tail off, because it's a very heavy part of the animal. And the tribe say, oh yeah, you can cut the tail off. And so now they know what's happening. Now the healers are getting prepared, and they're telepathically talking to him about how he's feeling, and they're preparing their medicine and everything for him. And then, the cooks and everything are all, okay, right, great, we've got a kangaroo coming, so now we know we're going to cook this kangaroo. And he gets back and everything's there. The healers attend to him, and boom, the kangaroo is then cooked in the fire. And she's like, wow, you knew everything that was going on. And so this is how she starts finding out about this transparency. And so she says, yeah, I don't know how that would work in our workplaces with all the cheating and stealing and everything that goes on in life, that we just don't feel that we can be honest with each other in the workplace. It just wouldn't work. And he's like, well, yeah, it doesn't work for us to be dishonest with one another. We need to be completely honest so we can stay in this beautiful, beautiful connection. And when we're in that, we just have so much gratitude and so much joy for one another. And that's what you can see through taking off these limits, through the Aboriginal way, is that they have no limits on each other, and they just want to purely and utterly give. And one of the other important lessons is about children. And they said, what we do is, they do have toys, but what we do with them is we teach them that it's not the toy that's giving them the joy, it's their experience with who they are that is giving them the joy, so they don't get attached to objects. And then they recognise that the joy is actually who they are. And that's what they learn from such a young age. And the same with competition. They don't understand competition because they they live completely and utterly together. And they're like, what do you mean you compete with one another? They completely and utterly want to look after each other. They want to be there for one another. They laugh together, they sing together, they're honest together, telepathic together. Everything is for the service of the whole. It's not actually for a personal self. And so they're always encouraging one another to be great. And so what they do is they look at their gifts. So for instance, one might be good at making spears and things like that, as like a stonemason. And so then he really enjoys it. And so he's like, okay, great, this is obviously what your oneness wants you to use this. And he's like, oh, wow, great, I really enjoy this. Okay, you do that. And then another one like really enjoys cooking. And it's like, okay, this is your thing. And so they just want to give in that way. That's what their function is. And their joy is. And so they see themselves more as an instrument. They see themselves as an instrument for this joy, for this expression of truth to come through them. And so they all and they love to sing, they love to dance. And they say so she asked, as they said, why don't you just talk to one another? And they said, talking is superficial through the voice. And the voice is not meant to be used for talking, because you can just do it in the mind. You don't need to talk to each other. We talk to the universe. They said, but what the voice is for, the voice is for singing. She said, oh, right, really? Yeah. I said, yeah, because that's where you find your joy. They said, that's where you can get in touch with your joy, is through singing and using the voice to sing out. And she's like, wow, that's absolutely amazing. And so it's like so interesting, like if for her going on this journey, and for me going on the journey with her, it's like taking all these limits off that you know, we believe in, like the body and everything. And so it's like this is just this complete dismantling. And so she noticed that they're in this heat. I mean, can you imagine how hot it is out there? And she's like, I noticed that you don't drink much water. They said, no, we don't need to. She said, well, why not? Said, well, when we eat the animals, we make sure that we're taking in all of the juice of the animals, all the juice of the plants, all the juice of everything that we're having, and we don't need anything. So we can survive on a few sips of water each day. It's not true that you have to do that. I know that you believe in that in your society, but we don't believe in it, and we live in this heat all day long. And so, of course, we know it's all. That's a cause and effect thing, and it's not true, but it's just actually taking off the limits. It's like it's an expansion of limits, that believing that things that okay, if I was in a hot desert, it seems pretty sensible that I would need drinking water, and there's these people out there saying, no, you don't need that. And that's what I love. That's what I love about this. It's like, wow, I really thought that was true. It just helps with taking off these limits that we seemingly believe in through this world, these cause and effect things. If I do that, there's a cause and there's an effect to what I'm doing. And there's a belief system, a massive belief system that is holding this all into place. And it's like, you know, it's funny, isn't it? Like you go to other countries and they do different things. You think, but you automatically have thought, no, this is the way. And then you see another way and you thought, I never thought that was possible. And it's like, it's only ever showing us that you are so limited. That's what this life is all about in some respects. It's showing you, like, wake up. You are not this limited thing. There are no limits. And so these steps seemingly inform when we see things like that. We find it very interesting. We're all quite impacted of that. And we think, God, I never knew that was possible. And so that's all it is, really. It's just showing the expansion of the mind. It's nothing special in form going on whatsoever. It's actually more to do with the connection. And so this is what really, really interested me this week. It was like, wow, what's stopping my connection? What is it? What is it that stops? And through reading this book, it's like, well, wow, if you're not being transparent, then you can't be completely and utterly fully connected. And of course, that's just Course in Miracles 101, isn't it? If you're not going to share, if you're not going to share all your ego thoughts, if you're going to keep them, as he teaches us, then you are just reconfirming a false concept of yourself. And if you're sharing it to let it go, then that can't live and breathe in you. Because that's what it wants. It wants to, that's the word, it wants to disrupt you, your thinking. And of course, we all have these things about us that we don't want others to know. And often we act in different ways when we're on our own than when we are with other people. And we can act differently with other people too. And we see that in ourselves. We see there's this inconsistency. And when you're on this journey, you start to pay attention to these patterns, because you recognise that these patterns are the very thing that need to be undone and need to be looked at. So, for instance, like the tribe, they have to be completely and utterly honest with each other, because otherwise there's no connection, and that disrupts everything. And it's like, how honest are you really being with your tribe? Because, you don't have to go out into the middle of the outback, do you, to find people that you're close to. And whether they're even on the journey or not, you are still in doing your mind training. You are still wanting to open up to everything. And so, as the Course teaches, that we're using our relationships for that. That's what we're using. They are the quick route. We don't need to sit and meditate for 18 hours a day. We don't need to contemplate. We don't need to get ourselves into yoga positions and things to wake up. Yeah, if you enjoy doing it, there's absolutely nothing. There's nothing right or wrong with it, because the intention behind it, if the desire is to wake up, you will wake up. That's what the Course teaches. It's only about desire, including even doing the lessons. It's all completely and utterly nonsense. It's just because you believe that you need something to wake up. But if your desire was whole, then it's done and dusted. There's nothing else needed than just 100% desire for the truth. And it's good night. It's goodbye ego. Can't live in 100% desire for truth, can it? It's the complete and utter opposite. And so, of course, all these things are just actual ego props to help, and we know that we need plenty of help. And so the Course teaches that a relationship is given you, a real relationship, and that is your relationship with the Holy Spirit. That's the real relationship. And if you can connect with that real relationship, then that will splay out into all relationships. And the thing is with that is, when you want to connect with that relationship, with the real relationship, everything that's not a part of the real relationship is going to start showing up. So that's why when people start A Course in Miracles, they say, well, my life was actually better until I started the Course in Miracles. I was happy doing what I was doing. It's like, well, yeah, but there's been a lot of stuff that's been hidden in your mind. And so now you're actually being sincere that you actually want a direct experience. And so now everything that's not that direct experience is coming up to be revealed, because you actually want it up and out. And of course the ego is going to say, no, this is not good. You're not feeling good. You were better before. Why don't you go to sleep and do the things that you were doing before, because this is not good. And so the feelings are all egoic, and they make you feel uncomfortable when you have to face things. And of course then the signals come out from the ego. This is not good. This is not good. This is not the direction. But the Holy Spirit is saying, oh yeah, this is part of all these beliefs that are locking you into place. And so there's a lot of ugly things about ourselves that we don't want anybody to know. And you're probably sitting there thinking, yeah, there's a few things I wouldn't like to say, to be honest, because we all have that. We all have that. The ego is a liar. It will do anything to survive. and it will make you believe that it is you, and it wants to control you to do things to make you feel guilty. And so these are the things that we are desperately clinging on to, but they're not serving. And so it takes courage. That's what we were talking about last week. It's taking this courage to, okay, so what is more important? I think that's a good question. And I think what happens on this journey, what's been happening to me, it's that the connection and the truth becomes more and more important than holding on to a lie. Lying to others, cheating to others, being dishonest, not being truthful, not wanting to share, wanting to stay hidden. You know, that's the ego's game, innit? Hide and find nothing. Hide and you'll be safe with me, it basically says. Hide, you'll be safe with me, but you'll have to carry a bit of guilt on your shoulders, and it keeps it all minimum. And I've seen that for myself. You know, I was thinking about that today. I snuck around. I sneak around, I still do it. I'm not going to lie. And you know, it's like when you take drugs and things like that, you have to start sneaking around. It's funny, going back even further than that, I used to love watching ninja movies were my favourite, and they're always sneaking around. So it was like I was getting this reflection of sneaking around. And that's been a thing that I've had to deal with. I'm not always honest. I sneak around. And I don't like it. I don't want to be doing that. I can see it. It's like, you know, what am I going to get away with this time? Who's getting away with what? It's taking it back to your own mind that you're only ever hurting yourself. I am doing this unto myself, and it is this I would undo. And that's something that I've seen, and of course, Jesus teaches us in A Course in Miracles that honesty is consistency. It's a consistent state of mind. It's your words, your actions, your behaviour, everything is completely lined up. And it's like, yeah, I'm not being honest. I'm not in that honesty. I still want to keep things hidden. Well, no, I don't. That's not actually true. I don't want that. But things will be hidden, and they will need to be revealed. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to reveal. That's what the Holy Spirit says. It says reveal it and see the nothingness of what it actually is. It's you're being lied to about this guilt business, because there is no guilt. But it seems very, very real. And that's why we have to line up with the Holy Spirit. And that's what takes everything away. And so, you know, you could have things that have been hidden for years. Years and years and years and years and years. But yet they're in the back of your mind. You know they're there. I've done it. I've carried things around. I've carried a lot around. And it's okay. No one needs to know. But yeah, it's there. And so that's the encouragement. Actually, I want to encourage you to let go of that. Because that's what's creating a limit. That's why your mind's not being vast. That's why you're not in that full connection that you really, really want. And it's like maybe you have had that connection, and it's like we all have it. We expect, where did the connection go? Well, the connection never went anywhere. You gave it away. That's what he teaches us. He says you give it away. You don't realise how precious a gift is. The connection that you have with oneness is. You don't realise how precious that is. And when you get it, you give it away too quickly. That's the bottom line. But it's always there for you. But you're very, very quick to keep your illusions and your beliefs in place. You might even be feeling uncomfortable as I'm sharing and saying, you know, I know you're hiding stuff. Actually, you just reminded me, there's a beautiful tale from Ramana Maharaji, and one of his disciples had been cheating and lying, and he got found out by the other disciples, and the other disciples brought him to Ramana Maharaji It's right, we found him out. This one, he's a cheater. He's a liar. And like, we've got him. And so Ramana Maharaji sits there and says, yeah, he needs more help from us. I'm going to make him my second in command. He's going to be by my side now, and he's going to be with me because he really, really wants the teachings. And they all went, oh, I've been so good. I'm always here. I'm praying. He's been lying. He's the cheater. And now all of a sudden he's been the one. He's been found out. And yet you give him the rights to be next to you. And what we wouldn't give to sit next to you all day long, to go on the walks with you, to go and do all the nice things with you, Master. But yet you give it to him, that lying cheater over there. And he said, yeah. He said, he has now been found out, and he is wanting to give that over. But all of you here have got things hidden, and you haven't given them over yet. So don't start accusing others over things that you're not doing, because all of you in this room here are not being honest. And they all quickly scurried off back into their corners. Because it's like, yeah, don't think that you're not being dishonest here, because you are, because the ego is a lie. And that's what he was really sharing with everybody. He was saying, well, all the time you're believing in the ego, you're a complete liar. So don't try and hide it from me. And this guy, you want to chastise him, but yet now we want to appreciate our brother, and we want him to have the best. We want him to deepen in his trust and his love, and that's what we do for one another. That's why we don't judge. That's why we don't judge one another on what's going on. Judgments may come up, but that's for our own mind, to take it back to our own mind, because we want to see the complete and utter innocence in everything and everyone, and including ourselves. And so, yeah, this has been what's been on my mind. And it's funny, actually. Last night we watched a beautiful movie, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, and it was all about this same exact theme. It's like everybody wanted to feel this connection. Everybody wants to feel the connection, but if there's secrets, because there were family secrets, there were things that were said, then all of a sudden that completely and utterly disrupts everything. And of course, in our normal world is we want to blame. We want to blame the one that is the liar. Look what he did. Look what she did. She created all of this drama for all of us lot. There's the wrong one. But in actual fact, it's actually perfect for bringing up what's in our own minds. So yeah, I can share something, because it's all what's been going on in it. We've had all this seeming drama in America going on. We got racism, we got looting, we got vigilantes. The whole place has gone seeming crazy. I mean, how do I know? I'm not there, but we see some sort of footage going on, and it's like, well, that's not outside your mind. That's not outside of my mind. And it was funny actually, because I never ever watch the news. It just doesn't even come up on my feed or anything like that. All my little internet connections, I just don't watch the news. I just don't do it any longer. It's just not there. But for some unknown reason, this was like there for me. And so I started watching it, and I thought, God, this is interesting. I'm watching this. So then I'm thinking, there must be something in this for me. And it was very, very beautiful actually, because I started watching it, and so there was like all this violence going on, and I watched the police officer seemingly kill the guy, whatever his name was, and that was the reason why it all happened. So I watched all that. So I thought, okay, this is interesting. So I'm watching all these riots, and what happened for me, I was completely unaware that I got really sucked into it. I started watching it, and so I then had my old sort of pattern was there, which I didn't realise at the time. And so I'm watching it, and all of a sudden there was a position whereby we were like on a bird's eye view, we were like looking down on it. And so there was like the civilians seemingly, they were actually starting to now clash with the police, and it was getting a little bit out of hand. And so all of a sudden I automatically sided with the civilians, and I'm sitting there saying, no, don't split up, stay together. You know, I'm getting really into it, and I'm like, you're not going to defeat them like that, you know, right? So I'm like there, and I've got the bird's eye view, as if like I'm like helping, like I'm really like actually on the screen now. I'm watching it as if I'm there, and I'm like, you've got them, they're vulnerable. You can take the police now. And I was like, you know, as if I was going to get them back, and I was like, all of a sudden, I then like saw it. I was like, wow, I've still got this. They did something wrong, so now, okay, fair enough. The civilians are getting a little bit out of hand. They deserve it. And so I sat back. I thought, God, it's still there. This belief in punishment, the belief that was going to be helpful. You know, I wanted an outcome. Like, okay, the police have done this. Now it's your turn to get your chance back, and you've got your chance to dismantle them. And it's like, oh my God, and I just didn't feel good inside. And my first thought was, don't want to share this with anyone. But it was like, how I saw it was, but how would I see this again? How would I see it in my mind? So I sat back, and I went back in my chair, and I'm just sitting there thinking, God, I don't feel good. I really don't feel good about this. Wow, there's still that belief in there. There's still that aggression there that like, oh yeah, I want to get in there. I want the civilians to get their own back. And I just felt, it just felt sickening. And so my ego, what it wants to do is it wants to say, you still believe in this. You still believe in violence. And just because you're not doing violence doesn't mean to say you're not thinking about it. And you thought about it then. And it was like, no, I don't. I managed to stop myself. I said, no, I don't need to go down that road. I need to open up to be able to see what this truly is, because I got caught up on the screen, and I'm not guilty for that. I just got to look at what I'm believing so I can really, really release it. And of course, my ego wants to say, you enjoy it. You enjoy this still. And I'm like, okay, well, am I? But that's a good point. That's a good point you've brought up. Am I still enjoying this? And I'm like, well, I'm actually not feeling good about the whole situation. And so I had to go very deep inside of me to actually correct that and say, no, I am not feeling good about this. Yes, maybe in the past that was true, but I'm sitting here and I wasn't aware of my feelings then, but now I'm starting to be aware of what I'm feeling, and I'm not comfortable with this. This cannot be right. This cannot be right that I'm seeing a war, I'm seeing conflict, I'm seeing injustice and justice. That just can't be right. And so when I looked at it as if it was in the form, I thought, how on earth am I going to see through this? How am I supposed to see this differently? Because you start weighing up the situation. I think, well, I can see the police's point on this bit. I can see the people's point on this bit. I can see racism here. I can see that now these people are looting. That's not appropriate. So all of a sudden you see all these justifications in your mind, and I think, how on earth am I supposed to look at this? How am I supposed to see this in my mind? And so that then became the prayer. I was like, I don't know. That was the great thing about it. That's what we have to come to on everything. I had to sit there and say, I don't know. I just don't know how to look at this. I don't know how to heal this. I'm feeling something when this looting's going on. I'm feeling something over this racism. I'm clearly believing in racism. Okay, it's because I'm seeing it. So I'm being triggered by all these things. How on earth am I going to sort through this? How is there a resolution? Because the thing is what happens is the ego wants to say, you need to solve the problem in the form. You need to work it out in your mind, but we all know it's never going to happen. It has to be in the mind. I have to take it all back. So that's the great thing about this training, isn't it? We're always remembering to take it back as quick as possible. And sometimes, it takes longer than other times. And so now I thought, I sat back and thought, no, what I'm seeing is not actually what's happening. There's something much, much deeper going on in my mind that needs to be healed here. So I just had to take it back, and I sat there for about an hour just in this, and the words that were actually coming to me, it was justice and injustice. And I thought, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to solve that. I just don't know what the answers are. Because of course in our lives we've all shouted our mouths off, haven't we? I think this, I think we should do that, I think that. And it's like, well, yeah, you don't know, do you? That's the whole point. No one knows. Otherwise, everything would be running perfectly smoothly. But we just don't know how to do this because this isn't our home. This isn't where we're supposed to be. And so how on earth are you supposed to sort out something that is not even real? So you're looking at something that is just perpetuating from your own mind. You are generating it in your own mind and then believing it's outside. And if you believe it's outside of you, then there's going to be no healing. So that's the bottom line. So I'm sitting there. So now I'm just got to look at my own beliefs. And so if stuff's not triggering me, it's not triggering me. I don't have to even worry about that. It's like that's what some people have said. How should I be looking at this? Well, just look at what's coming up and that's the end of it. You don't have to think about anything else. Should I be feeling guilty? Should I be feeling guilty? Do you feel guilty? Yes or no? That's the honest answer. How do I feel? Then work with that. It's kind of pretty simple, really. And so it's like I'm just looking at all the things, and so this thing comes into my mind. God knows why, but obviously it was important. Justice and injustice. And so I sat there for about an hour with this, just sitting there, and I felt the peace coming over me, but there was still that sort of, oh, this doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel comfortable to feel this way, but somehow there was this sort of peace coming over. And there was absolutely no resolution in my mind as to what happened. But all I kept hearing is injustice and justice. What the hell does that mean? So anyway, I went to bed that night and I went to sleep. And when I woke up in the morning, the moment when I finally went on to Facebook, I go on there and I look, and it's those police officers were taken off their house. They were going out because from the last scenes from the night before, they were saying the vigilantes, whatever you want to call them, they've taken over the towns and the police have had to withdraw. It's too dangerous and they can't do anything now. And so everything's being burnt down and God knows what else is happening. I'm like, oh God, that's not so good. So anyway, that's where I've gone to bed. Then I've woken up in the morning after all this prayer and I'm like, I have no idea what this is for. So there must have been some healing in my mind, because the first thing that I look at, these police officers have come out and said, no, we want to be with you. We understand. And then they were all taking off their helmets, taking off their guns and all that business. And then they were kneeling on one knee in a vulnerable position. And then they were all calling out the names of their what do they call, platoon? I don't know what they call themselves, but you know, their group, whatever, regiment, whatever they call it. And they were all saying, no, we don't want this. We don't want this. And then the people, the civilians, seemingly, then all of a sudden they walk with us. And then the sheriff's like, we're going to walk with them. And it's like they all came together. And I was like, wow, I never ever saw that one coming. It was just like really like a beautiful symbol in my mind that somehow something had come together. And I was like, God, I mean, I wasn't even expecting a form outcome. I was expecting more chaos, to be honest. And I thought, wow, what a beautiful reflection. I must have really forgiven something there. And really let go of something. And then that's when it was dawning on me, because then my prayer started to become, what is this all about? Like, Jesus, please help me see over the error. It can't be in the form any longer. I've seemingly looked at that and I want to know what the correction is. I want to know how to completely overlook this altogether. And then this is when the episode came to me, and he said to me, "It's all about connection." And I was like, "Oh my God, you're right. Look, they all wanted to connect. They actually wanted to connect. It looks like there's these two sides warring with each other, but yet what everybody is crying out for is this deeper connection." And it was just like, it's just so crystal clear that that's what holds everything together. That's what everybody wants. Deep down inside of us, we all know that we're absolutely and completely one, not in form, in truth, in reality, in the ultimate reality of what we are. Somewhere deep inside of us, we absolutely know that. And as he says, that fire may seemingly be burning very low in your mind, but in actual fact it's burning very bright, and it will never ever ever go out. So there's always that faint memory that knows that is completely and utterly connected. And so you're always opening up to that, to whatever your mindset will allow you to become that. So it's like, everybody, like, so when you're seeing all these problems, seeming problems, I'm going to loot all this place, it's like, oh yeah, you've just lost your connection with everything. That's all it is, plain and simple. And then you can see it very, very differently. It's really a call for love. It's a cry for help. It's a huge, great cry for help. That's all it is. It's a beautiful call for love. And that's what this is. And that's why you have to go through that. You can't just sit there and say that just because you've heard those words from me. You're going to have to sit there. If you're still feeling these grudges, if you're still feeling these things, even as I'm talking, you might be sitting there saying, well, it's easy for you to say, you're sitting in Mexico, mate, aren't you? You know, there's a lot of things, but of course you've just got to see it in your own mind. You can't, no one's gonna heal for you. You've got to go through it. And so what's on the back of that? That's the vastness. The connection's going to be there once you've let go, once they're having their expression session seemingly on the streets. Okay, let's get it out of the system. This is what needs to be expressed. It's only your own anger. You're seeing angry, you're seeing violence, you believe in violence. It's in your own mind. That's what Jesus says. What you want to see, you will see. What you don't want to see, you will not see. So if you're seeing it, you're believing it. It's in your mind. And that's the only place you're ever going to heal it. We can't be going around, oh God, these terrible people. No, there are no others. It's all perfectly aligning for you to let go of it all. And so that was kind of another interesting thing, because for me, this other miracle that I had around all of this, because that morning that I woke up, obviously, but I was getting stirred up in some way, and I've been in quite a good place. But this one morning, I woke up and there was a bit of an annoyance in me. And what happened is my day ended up, a few things came in, a few things changed, and so it wasn't to the day that I had planned. And so it was really amazing. What happened is, this door, what I call like the ego's door, he just always wants an opportunity to open up. It was, how important am I? This ego door opened up, said, do you know how important I am? How important these things are? And now my day is being disrupted. And I was like, oh God, and there's that horrible feeling that came with it. I was like, oh my God, I've undone the door of importance. Oh dear, oh no. And so I'm feeling like, like terrible. I'm like, oh my God, I don't want this door to open too wide. God, this is the last thing I need. All these horrible feelings coming up. And all of a sudden what happened is I remembered my dream from that night. And so it was like the script, this is a beautiful way of seeing the script is written. It was like I felt like the Holy Spirit was in my dream and kept saying to me throughout the whole dream. The dream was just like a normal dream. It wasn't anything too hectic, but it was lesson 68, lesson 68, lesson 68, lesson 68. But when I woke up, I completely forgot about it. I forgot about that. Then when this door of importance opened up, I was like, oh my God, I really need help. I hate this feeling. I hate feeling like this. I don't like sharing this. You know, do you know who I am? Oh God, no, not this again. It feels so real, you know, when you really get caught up in it. And then all of a sudden, lesson 68. And I was like, that was the dream. He kept saying it to me so he would get it into my head. So it was like he was like seeing, it was like a quantum leap. It was like the Holy Spirit was saying, listen, you're going to have a few things are going to start opening up for you, but don't worry, the script's written, and I'm already handling it for you. So I'm sitting there like, I really need help, and he's like, lesson 68, and it's actually one of my favourite lessons, and it's love holds no grievances. I'd actually forgotten what 68 was. So I was like, 68, what is that? So I undone my book. Love holds no grievances. I'm like, oh my God. And so he's given me the exact perfect answer in that lesson, saying, and that is the lesson you'll probably all remember it, because we all remember it. And it says in there, it says, for the exercise, it says, search your mind for people who you have had problems with, that you find difficult. And so you start doing that, and then he says, and look at ones that you seemingly love, but you will find difficulty there too, if you look close enough. It's basically saying you've actually got a problem with everyone. And that's what happened when this door opened up, how important I am. And I was like, this is it. No, I want to join. I want to be connected. I don't want to be important. The ego, yes, you do. You think you're important. And it's like, no, I don't want to be that. And it's like he gives me that beautiful lesson in advance. And I just read that lesson, and then I went through it, and I'm like letting it all go. And it just says, yeah, you are my friend. You know, I want to see you as my friend. That I want to stay connected with you and remember myself. And it's like, that's the whole point in it. When you're not connected with your brothers, you've forgotten yourself. That's it. Yeah, we don't want to lose this connection. You know, because it's like, it's so funny, because I'm sitting here and I'm seemingly talking into a camera, and that's it. There's nothing else going on here. But yeah, I'm talking to you. Because I feel the connection. It just absolutely proves that. How can I be sitting here talking to a piece of plastic and metal? It can't be true, can it? I'm not talking to form, I'm talking to you. And that's what this is all about. We want to stay so connected. And in that connection, if we stay that connected, it will burn away all of these grievances. Everything that you hold in your mind, you can be brave enough to let go of all of that. Because so much more waits for you. Don't hold anything back. And even actually, yeah, I think that's part of this episode, is that if there's something you're holding back in giving, do not hold back. Go and do it. Go and give to that person. Go and do what you feel you've got to do. Go and give from your heart. Give everything. Because you know what, I was talking to Pete just as I started the episode, and I shared with him what I shared at the start with you about, well, if I share everything today, then what am I going to share tomorrow? And then his response was, well, yeah, but if you share everything today, there's probably going to be new stuff that's going to want to come through. You know, you're allowing the new to come to come through, and it's like, yeah, that's right. So it's like I've shared absolutely everything that I wanted to today. I feel very, very, very satisfied. It's very satisfying to just do that. And now I'm like, oh my God, you know, now I'm thinking ahead. But I feel really, really beautiful about it. It's like the open-minded retreat. And so it's like, well, if I'm not going to go in there with an open mind, then, then who is? So I have to. So I've just cleared my mind of everything. And now it's like waiting for the new, for something else, something beautiful. Hello, 1, 2, am I back? Yeah, I'm back now. Okay, well, I'm not too sure. Our camera just run out. Oh dear. So what was I saying? Yeah, I'm just sharing like that. Yeah, I feel like I've given everything today, and this is the most important thing. And it's like my prayer for today was, I expect big miracles. I am not going to settle for second best. I'm not going to, okay, just give me a good day today. Just give me enough. All this sort of weakness. It's like, no, I want if everything is out there to be provided, I want that. I want that miracle. I want the whole shift. I want the complete shift. And I'm not going to hold back on anything. And so that's what I want for you. That's what I want, that prayer in your heart. I want you to come to that place whereby that prayer is true for you, that you have that strength and that willingness to say, you are right, I want a extremely miraculous day. I want to be shown everything that I possibly can. And I think this is what it's all about. And that has to just come from your heart when you feel brave enough. And that's all we're doing. We're just getting to the point where the strength has arisen in us, and then we say, yes, I want more. I want more of that. And so that's where I'm going to leave us today, with that beautiful prayer. So thank you, Facebook. Thank you, YouTube, so much for being with me. And I very much look forward to seeing you next week. Yeah. Peace be with you. Thank you.